Hello, you're watching New Vision TV. This is news around East Africa. My name is Lynn Komjisha. We start off with news coming in from Tanzania. Tanzania plans to introduce a new auctioning system for big game hunting blocks next month in a move aimed at enhancing transparency and curbing corruption in that part of the tourism industry. Allocation of hunting blocks by government officials to tourist companies has been dogged by allegations of impropriety and loss of revenues. But in the new initiative, the state-run Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority will next month auction 26 hunting blocks for the first time. News from Rwanda. Rwanda's goal of doubling current tourism revenues by 2024 was boosted after Akagera Aviation made their contribution by launching a new product, scheduled helicopter flights to the country's top 3 tourist attractions, Akagera Park, Volcanoes Park, and the Nyungwe Forest. Now in Kenya, Kenya is set to host the third Water, Electricity and Power Expo, which is the largest platform for products, services and technologies in the water and energy sectors. The 2-day event is scheduled to take place in October at the Kenya International Convention Center. In Burundi, alongside Madagascar, the Hirondelles are making their debut at the AFCON finals with players like Barahino and Bigirimana championing their cause. Coach Oliver Niyungeko believes Burundi has a success chance as every other team at the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. News coming in from South Sudan. South Sudan's President Salva Kiir has expressed willingness to quit power if need be. He rubbished claims leveled by his political critics, alleging he was unwilling to leave power anytime soon. President Kiir said there were individuals who have accused him of holding on to power and advocated for unconstitutional means to force him. Now, closing this episode of the East African News, we take a look at Uganda. The twins of the State Minister for Water, Ronald Chibude, were Wednesday laid to rest at their ancestral home in Kapeke Nama Mukono district. The twins' graves were constructed in a shelter. Waswa and Kato drowned in a swimming pool at the minister's residence in Mukono on Monday. Away from East Africa, we take a look at what's making headlines around Africa. We start with Somalia. Police in Somalia says 4 people were killed Tuesday when a suicide bomber hit offices in the Watanabada district of Mogadishu. Witnesses said that a Toyota Noah vehicle filled with explosives was driven into the district headquarters during food distribution for Ramadan. Police say at least 9 people were injured in the blast, but witnesses put the number of the injured at 30. The targeted building is near the Somali Presidential Palace, Villa Somalia, also located in Watanabada district. Al-Shabaab militants claimed responsibility for the attack. On Monday, the deputy leader of Al-Shabaab, Mahad Karate, cautioned his militants to avoid shedding Muslim blood. The speech contradicts the group's usual tactics of targeting civilian areas in Mogadishu, including hotels and restaurants. From South Africa, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa said Wednesday the government will speed up economic reforms to revive an ailing economy and attract foreign investors after his African National Congress party won re-election. Analysts have said boosting South African growth and overhauling debt-laden power firm Eskom were post-election priorities for the ANC after a decade of slow growth and rising joblessness. Ramaphosa said more details on how the reforms will be implemented would be announced in his State of the Nation address scheduled for next month. From China, China has a glorious history of being open to the world, and it will only be more open, President Xi Jinping said Wednesday in his first public address since trade tension with the United States spiked last week. China and the United States are locked in an escalating trade war, with both levying tariffs on each other's imports. Just before Xi spoke, the government reported surprisingly weaker growth in retail sales and industrial output for April. China on Monday announced higher tariffs on $60 billion worth of U.S. goods effective June 1st in retaliation for a U.S. decision on Friday to raise levies on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports. Xi was addressing a forum in Beijing organized by the propaganda ministry called the Conference on Dialogue of Asian Civilizations. He made no direct reference to the trade tension, focusing instead on presenting China as a non-threatening country open to all. In the UK, British Prime Minister Theresa May will launch another push next month to approve Britain's exit from the European Union before the summer break, setting a new deadline for her Brexit plan and a potential timetable for her own departure. Nearly 3 years after the United Kingdom voted 52% to 48% to leave the EU, politicians still disagree about when, how, or even if the divorce will take place. Brexit had been due to take place on March the 29th, but May was unable to get her divorce deal ratified by Parliament, which rejected the so-called withdrawal agreement 3 times, and now the date is set for October 31st. In a change of track, her spokesman said she was now planning to put forward a withdrawal agreement bill which implements the terms of Britain's departure in the week beginning June 3rd to try to secure Brexit before lawmakers go on summer holiday. News coming in from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia said armed drones struck 2 of its oil pumping stations Tuesday, 2 days after the sabotage of oil tankers near the United Arab Emirates, and the U.S. military said it was braced for possible imminent threats to U.S. forces in Iraq from Iran-backed forces. The attacks took place against a backdrop of U.S.-Iranian tension following Washington's decision this month to try to cut Iran's oil exports to zero and to beef up its military presence in the Gulf in response to what it said were Iranian threats. Tuesday's attacks on the pumping stations more than 200 miles west of Riyadh and Sunday's on-form tankers have raised concerns that the United States and Iran might be inching toward military conflict. However, U.S. President Donald Trump denied a New York Times report that U.S. officials were discussing a military plan to set up to 120,000 troops to the Middle East to counter any attack on nuclear weapons acceleration by Iran. We close off with this segment with news coming in from the USA. U.S. President Donald Trump is denying trade talks with China have collapsed and is characterizing what many are calling a trade war between the world's 2 largest economies as a little squabble. Trump said there's a dialogue going. It will always continue before boarding the Marine One helicopter, adding that they had a deal that was very close and they broke it. As a result, administration officials say the president this week decided to deepen what they bluntly characterize as a trade war with China. That was news around East Africa and around the world. My name is Lynn Komdisha. I leave you with Ruth Nastaja taking a look at today's pullouts.